TF for the family. Hell as you saying, I am a man, I go super saiyan when I'm on the beat, piles of sand, buckets and pans,
lure
I get
you
to the
in
bands when I'm in the
with this
streets.
false social security preamble ramble. That's what I've been calling it.
Okay.
Right? You call it the preamble ramble. It's the oh my god, I didn't know the camera was rolling joint, right? You just say something wild and ridiculous, you catch the audience, hook them in, make sure they know. Right? They say the first 30 seconds, if you ain't with it in the first 30, you don't care about the next 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like to do. And the first thing I want everybody to acknowledge is that since I've known Alex, not once has he combed his beard. And that's what's important.
Why would you just call me out like that?
I want you to know I never seen it. I'm not saying it hadn't happened.
I don't have a reason to impress anybody right now. I do it for my girlfriend. That's it.
It's all right. Hi, everybody. How you doing? This is Edwardo Vasquez El Segundo. And this is the HERBsurdity Podcast with Alex and Herb. And to my left is my co-host.
Just Alex, since I have to say this now, forever.
Forever and forever. If you ever stop saying it, the people are going to forget who you are now. That's your new name. I don't know if you need to tell your mama and go back home and let her know, say, hey, look, I know you gave me a specific name upon my birth, but I need you to know the world has decided to change it to something completely different.
She may not have a problem with my dad, Mike. He may come up here and fight you, bro.
Hey, look.
It's out of my hands at that point.
I already said I could be Edge on the podcast. I don't know if your pops got hands like that, but he might. I've been learning some lessons from some folk. Figure some things out, you know what I'm saying? Always got sand in my pocket. We good to go. If you don't know nothing about pocket sand, everybody, that's when you literally have a handful of sand that you pull out of your pocket and you just toss it in another individual's eyesight purview. They can't see what you got going on. You got two options after that. It's fight or flight. You can choose fight.
Yeah.
Or you can choose flight. I mean, flight, you got you a head start. I'm not a very fast guy. So it's typically fight for me. But if we close to a door, somebody can close real quick, distract them which direction I went to. Flight is an option. I like flight.
You can just do the eye poke like Ric Flair, too.
Yo, Ric Flair is an. Let me tell you something about Ric Flair. So, I never realized growing up, when you're a small child, you don't fully understand the people on TV and like the option that you could have to know that you have the potential to meet them ever, right? Or to know somebody who knows them. Mm-hmm. Like it's not a common thing you can think of.
Yeah.
And then I found out when I got older, like Ric Flair's, spent a lot of time in like the Tidewater area of Virginia.
Yeah.
I was
Splitter country.
Yo, I didn't know. So I have met 3 women who have slept with Ric Flair before. 3.
Space Mountain?
Hey, look, man, they've been there. You know what I'm saying? So I was down at in Chesterfield actually. It was a girl I was dating at the time. Her mama was talking to she'd go to these like I don't really call them like the semi-pro of wrestling, like the smaller leagues that just
like the
territory.
and
Yeah,
wrestling, like
yeah.
the NWA type deals.
Right, where it's just like where like their wrestling organization is probably not televised and they do it at a high school gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, semi-pro. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
The minor leagues of wrestling.
Yeah.
The independent circuit. That's absolutely right. It's like where Ring of Honor was popping for like a long time before it got
ECW
televised.
was the very beginning.
ECW was the king of that. But yeah, places that were like you go to the county fair or the state fair, and that's where folks is wrestling. And then a lot of major league veterans, when they get older, that's where they go. So I remember at the time they were like, "Hey, Bobby the Brain Heenan is coming. He's gonna be wrestling Jake the Snake Roberts," and I was just like, "In Chesterfield, Virginia? That's what's up. I'm gonna go see that." Right? I couldn't make it there because I didn't have a car. I didn't have money like that. But the girl that I was dating at the time, her mom worked at a bar, and she was like, "Oh, the wrestlers come to the bar," and there was just like a young guy who was like locally famous, right? Everybody was talking about, and she knew him, right? So he was gonna make sure he brought all the wrestlers back with him because he was wrestling. Like, you know, he wanted to be one of the WWE guys. Like, he wanted to be big time.
Right. It's always that guy.
It's always that guy. He wasn't bad actually. I mean, he was pretty good. You know, like he do pretty good moonsault. So Bobby the Brain and like Jake the Snake hadn't come to the bar yet. But her mom started telling me all about it. She was just like, "Oh yeah, Bobby like never comes out, but like Jake's gonna be here." And for everybody to know, like, this is before Jake the Snake Roberts died. Like, he's not with us anymore. So like, it kind of dates this
Jake
material.
is still alive.
Stop playing with me. Somebody told me he died like 2 years ago.
He's definitely on AEW.
What?
Yeah.
He still got the snake?
Yeah.
No.
He definitely like fought with Cody Rhodes, but not like fought him, but he was like,
That snake is not still alive. That snake, snakes don't live 50 years.
Specific snake, but a snake.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was a snake that passed away, because I definitely remember a snake passed. Somebody passed away.
No, but no, Jake's still alive.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Yeah, I thought he died.
I'm trying to put that man in the ground.
No, man, you know, love Jake the Snake. I'm a little upset that like he didn't come to the bar till I had to go home, bro. Like, it was a bummy. I saw him from like a distance. I would have liked to meet him. I would have liked to see the snake. But so I'm talking to her mom, and she's telling me all about it. And you remember the Barbarian, like WCW?
Nah.
So back when WCW was like a big deal, like the Barbarian's a big swole dude. So like I had the WCW like NWO's Revenge video game, right? So I'm sitting at home with that, and he's definitely like on the game. So it's like, oh, somebody from my video game is gonna be at a bar in Chesapeake. I got to talk to him. That's crazy. So I got to meet the Barbarians. He's the first person to show up, and we talked for like a really long time. Big Samoan brother, you know, and his bicep, right? So like, you know how people's thighs look?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like somebody took a thigh and put it on his shoulder because the joint was wide, right?
Oh.
And the whole time he like flexing for the crowd and the ladies and stuff, you know, and kids like me, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm still a teenager at this point. And I'm like, yo, that's what's up. And you know, talking to him a little bit about like what he's got going on. So I remember his WCW days. I'm like, oh yeah, man, WCW. Like I remember you know, like you wrestled, you know, back when X-Pac was actually on WCW. Yeah. Right. It's not, I remember a match they had.
Like 6-Pac.
Yeah, it was 6-Pac. I was like, oh man, I remember that match, and he was like, oh, thanks for, you know, and he barely remembered it himself. So it let me know like fans can recall a million things, but like when you're actually in it, when it's your job, like you don't see it the same. Like it's not the same moment of glory that the fan sees.
Yeah, man. Like that's, you know, like somebody who wants to write comic books, which I'm referring to myself. Like that's something that I worry about. Is like kind of like losing the love of comics. Yeah.
That I would say that's a great risk. However, I will say, hearing interviews from like Grant Morrison, Mike Bendis, right?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, personal conversation I had, Eric Larson. So, for those who don't know, Eric Larson invented characters such as Savage Dragon.
Still going today.
Yeah, it is. It's a super long running comic to be one not in the big two. But technically, I guess he would be in the big three.
Yeah.
So
Spawn too.
Yeah.
Spawn's like on 300 and something.
And a new movie coming out.
Apparently, at some point, Jamie Foxx may be Spawn.
He's no Michael Jai White.
I mean,
it's no Michael Jai White.
Like Michael, I like that movie. Look, but okay, so we've never done an episode of Me and Just Herb, and so we wanted to do one where we kind of talk about why we're doing the podcast.
Oh yeah.
As Herb kind of, we went into a tangent about Ric Flair poking people in the eyes.
So I guess I should finally explain the dynamic and what we got going on. So for all those who do not know, the podcast does have my name, and in the very first episode I did get the name inaccurately because this is not my brainchild. This is Alex's brainchild. He is the creative mental mind behind the HERBsurdity Podcast. I'm just a man who gets drunk on camera.
That's not all you do. You expout a lot of wisdom and absurdity. It's the name of the show.
I mean, yeah, that's natural though.
Right. Yeah.
I was gonna do that anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And the world needs to hear it. So here we are. And I just, I want to interview people and see what makes them tick.
No, that it's something that like we didn't know about each other until the podcast started, and like in the middle of a podcast episode, apparently we both have history in journalism. But Arthur, Alex is a writer outside of the podcast, as we all have everyday jobs and everyday interest, and it's not all podcast where we don't wake up and eat and breathe podcast. What we do is we eat breakfast and then we podcast. So like there's at least two sides to our realms.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Alex, I personally would like to hear more about your interest in writing. I've never heard it before, and I would like a brand new story out of you. You're not very talkative, but I want some.
I don't have a story to tell per se, but I'm a big comic book fan. Been since I was a kid, and all my heroes that I really have been drawn to, Superman, Spider-Man, Venom, are all journalists or photojournalists, and I think that I'm just like them. I'm curious about the world and how you can kind of have a perspective on the world through journalism or writing. So that's kind of that's why I'm like doing the podcast, but also what I want to do with my writing. I am currently constructing a blog to talk about my conversion to Islam, that hopefully by the time you hear this podcast, I will have a couple of posts up.
I plan on reading it.
I hope you do.
I like to support people that have a passion and just really want to put extra information out in the world. I like to experience new things, and I like to see other people's purview of the same world that I'm viewing. I feel like if we stick to one opinion, we lose the interesting part of ourselves, and we're never going to grow and become better as people. I want to evolve. You can't evolve looking at the same four walls.
True.
And that's a bar, by the way. That's a cold one. I got y'all. Now that's a good point too. I never considered the fact the journalism aspect when it comes to superhero identities, but never really I never really thought about the aspect of just like the impact that secret identities have on superheroes on the kids that read the comics. Is always thought about it when it came to people who had secret identities that were simply based on what was trendy at the time. Like if anybody knows the character Razorback from Marvel, the man who could drive anything. he could drive anything because CB radios were very popular at the time, and they wanted a character who was a trucker, and they were like, how do you make a trucker interesting? And like, oh, he doesn't just drive trucks, boats, planes. And they're like, okay, what else? Four-wheelers. What else? Tractor. Okay, but a car. Like, yeah, I can drive a car.
Yeah, I'm about to say, obviously. But that could be kind of cool, though.
He can drive a space shuttle. Nah, Razorback? No.
I mean, like, depending on the circumstance, basically, you would have to be, like, the getaway driver for, like, every bank robbery ever.
But that's Overdrive's job. Overdrive is a Spider-Man villain, for those who don't know. But Razorback was the hero, and it's like, how you saving the day because you can drive to get there, and when you get there, what you gonna do? Get whooped, because that's what happened. The most exciting storyline this man was ever involved in wasn't even in his own comic. It's when you find out he is able to pilot an alien spacecraft to another galaxy, and he ended up being part of a repo company for like some sort of alien repo agency, in which was one of Deadpool's marriages. For people who are familiar with Deadpool's history at all, remember he actually has been married more than once, but one of his marriages was to a member of the repo organization that Razorback was a member of.
That is very deep cut. Very deep cut.
It is. It's probably too deep for the podcast, but
Yeah.
it's I'm out of Orange Jubilee, and I've gone to Bootleggers, Bootlegger Joe's. Everybody, you can find them in bottles about yay big. For those who can't see my fingers, imagine if you was throwing up inappropriate gang language C's, right? And then bam, there you go. That's the size of a bootlegger. I would say about 8 ounces. Sound about right?
Okay.
It's not enough. I have multiple in one bottle because that's how we living out here.
I see. Yeah, I'm sober. I'm the voice of reason on this show.
It's a good dynamic. I like it. I like having somebody that can wrangle me in, because it's good to be a Herbsurd, but what I don't need is to have it all the time. Somebody's got to make the sensical statements. Somebody's got to remind people that there are important questions that everybody wants to know, because there's questions I want to know about every guest that I don't think anybody cares about. But Alex reminds me that like people want to know the same stuff, so we should answer the big questions first. Not everybody is going to be able to want to know about like who's going to win between a lawn chair and a thermostat, because I was thinking about that earlier.
When would they ever have an altercation?
A lawn chair and a thermostat?
Yeah, that
happened to me today, and I don't think it. I know you looking at me funny. All right, so this is what happened, right? So I was cooking bread. I was making garlic bread, right?
Okay.
And so I didn't want the smoke decided to come on because the joint got a little crispy. And it wasn't burnt, by the way, just crispy. So,
all right.
So I got to open the sliding door, right? I want to open the sliding door. It's hot outside.
Correct.
Sliding out all the AC.
True.
Anybody who ever grew up in a black family know you don't just leave the door wide open because you're letting all the good air out. You know what I'm saying? And you get whooped for that. Exactly. And I did it, and I deserved a whooping apparently, because immediately I saw the temperature gauge. I was like, the thermostat, I was like, oh, 74 degrees. It's crazy. Thermostat set at 73. I'm forcing my AC to run. Bill gonna be sky high. So I went to go turn it down, right? Like adjust it so that the AC wouldn't keep running, and then tripped over the lawn chair that I have that I'm using in the middle of my move. And I thought about it as which was more important, move the lawn chair or fix the thermostat, right? Because when I got up, I still wanted to change the thermostat, but also I felt like I would trip over the lawn chair once again. And I just thought about it, like if I didn't have to make a decision and the two objects could decide between themselves, and if they like could grow hands and then throw them at one another, who would come out on top? I never came to a finalization on that. I'm still on the fence because I haven't had enough Orange Jubilee. I think if I had a third, I could definitely come to the root result between a lawn chair and a thermostat, but I'm not too sure.
I feel like that was a triple threat fight between you, that lawn chair, and that thermostat, and you still somehow lost.
I lost. I definitely lost, bro. Okay, I don't have a bruise, but like mentally I'm bruised. Like mentally I'm wounded. I'm like, oh my God, thermostats and chairs, who knew?
Yeah, no, it happens. Remember that time I fell off that ladder and I lost my shoe?
Yeah, I ain't never gonna forget that. Joe was there. He came down with the sock.
I was taking off for dear life.
But I never experienced someone else's fear so greatly.
You tried to tell me something, do something, I lost the whole train of thought. I was like, huh, yeah, I got it. But you're not moving.
I ain't got no shoe. When it comes down to the mentality of things we can handle and what we can't handle, there's always a limitation, right? And whether or not you can keep your shoes on while you do it is definitely a limit.
Yeah. 100%.
If anybody told me right now, say, hey, I need you to do any task. I don't care if it's cutting the grass. I don't care if it's like driving to the store real quick. If it's going to require me to take my shoe off to do it, I'm not with it. I can't handle it, bro. If I'm going to lose my shoe by the end of it, it's too risky. This is risky behavior.
Yo, I never looked at letters the same.
I watched Jurassic World. You ever seen Jurassic World?
Yeah.
So the leading lady in Jurassic World goes the whole movie with high heels on.
She does.
If she can go the whole movie with high heels and I can't make it to the store without both my shoes, that's way riskier than fighting a made up dinosaur. It wasn't even it was an Indominus Rex, which is crazy. That's not even a thing. And then, did you ever see the sequel? I need to know before I move on, because it looked like a raptor, right?
Yeah.
But it smiled, and not a normal smile. It was a kind of smile. You know, guys that like shake Skittles in their hands like dice before they eat them.
Right.
Right. So the joint looked like if a raptor had black Air Force energy. Right. Like it was black Air Force Ones, bro. Like it looked like that's all it wore, and it looked like it only wore its do-rag on top of his head, and it shook Skittles in his hands like dice, right? Because it just had one of them smiles on it, like it was about to rob you as soon as you went to sleep. And then they gave it thumbs.
Yeah.
But with like the one big raptor claw, but on all 5 fingers, so it had like acrylics on.
Yeah.
Right? So like it was a bad joint, but like it was also a hood dude that was gonna rob you, right? Like I had to pull up his jeans before it talked to you.
That is
right?
disturbing.
It was, bro, and I did not trust it one bit. So in my mind, if she fought the Indominus Rex in heels, but then you got this raptor with thumbs, acrylics on, and it shakes the Skittles like dice before it eats them. Jurassic Park is a series jumped the shark forever ago, right? And it just started preying on your regular fears, where it's just like, hey, you know that dude Tyrone you don't mess with? That probably rob you later? What if he was a dinosaur? He'd be like, oh, snap. That's crazy.
You are talking about the same franchise that really literally had a giant dinosaur shark.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
I guess you are jumping the shark.
I mean,
literally.
yeah.
No, this is another question that can only air on the solo episodes, right? Because like, there's no other time I can ever get this brought up. Everybody has a nerd fandom that's their favorite. Like there's one thing, whether you're a Tolkienite, right, and you only like Tolkien fantasy, like is the highest epitome of like fandom for you. Some people only like pro wrestling. Some people only like roller derby, right? There's always something for somebody, right?
Who likes roller derby?
I like roller derby. Now, is it my only thing? No.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
But I know people that said their only thing.
Huh.
I've actually met a girl who literally is only in the roller derby. Back when roller derby used to be on television. I don't know if you remember USA had.
I do.
Right,
Good times.
So, like she would watch it nonstop. Thought it was like the best thing ever. And she was like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be in a roller derby. It's gonna be amazing. My name's gonna be Smash Ashley. And I go, Smash Ashley? That's weird. And what about Smashley? And she goes, no, that's already taken. I'm gonna be Smash Ashley, like a separate Ashley, but with Smash in the front, like a prefix. And she clarified that yes, that's exactly what she meant. But like Ashley was her last name and Smash was her first name. So her name was Smash. Well, if it was like in a phone book, it'd be Ashley, Smash. So
Ashley Smash sounds better.
It does. I need to find that girl to tell her.
I mean,
Ashley Smash.
Somebody said that to her before. For now,
I would hope so, because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And like, it was weird. It's when I first started encountering people outside of my demographic. This is a little different, but the real question is, my wife recently had this thing where she knows more about Dune than I do, because I haven't seen Dune since I was a small child and I haven't read any of the books. And so there's a like a geek fandom that she's like more familiar with than I am, and it was like a big win for her, which is great because whatever. It's not a competition.
I mean, yeah.
If it was, I'd be winning though.
Okay,
but it's not a competition. So, what's your one? Like, if you had to pick one fandom out of all of them, that you could rock with. Now keep in mind, if you could rock with it, you can't rock with no others. You can't if you choose like get a comic book guy, you can't rock with movies.
Oh, what?
If you choose novels, right, you can't rock with board games. Like it's one thing you could choose. What is it? What's your one? What when people think of Alex? What is it?
I mean, I got a Marvel tattoo on my arm.
But you got DC tattoos on your arm.
I understand, which is why you put me in a pickle here. I mean, I was going to say Star Wars to be neutral, but I can't say Star Wars because they ruined the hell out of those last 3 movies.
Opinions.
Oh, I mean, I can tell you they fucked up when they didn't make John Boyega the star. Not to totally deflect, but yeah.
No, as a black man that hurt.
I mean,
because as I think every black man thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah, they advertised him as the star,
and then it didn't. And then they not only did they not make him the star, they backseated him so much that I got confused.
He became a comedy part of the movie.
And then Oscar Isaac, right? So like also as a Hispanic man, I was like, well, I got Oscar Isaac, and then like that didn't happen either. Yeah, so I was just like, hey, listen, let me tell y'all something. Y'all can't just put 2 people of color in a movie and then tell them, say, nope, the woman gets it this time. I go, but there was already women. Yeah. Kinda. There was only 2 women in all of Star Wars before, which sucks for them. But
I'm not co-signing.
But there was just the one black man though, so it's not like we had a lot going on. Vice versa, there was still more white women than there was black men.
Darth Vader's black. I don't care.
James Earl Jones. Yeah, that does count. I thought it was Ice-T in the suit for years.
Why would you think it was Ice-T?
I don't know.
To answer your question, it's probably comic books. I don't want to pick a specific company or genre. I'm just gonna say comics.
Because you don't want to exclude nothing. That's
because
trying to get the most out of it.
Because if you asking me to pick only Marvel, then I can't read Superman, which I love Superman more than I love Marvel. But I don't want to not have Marvel in my life.
Now, see, I'm glad I'm getting the interview because this is the key question right here. People always talk about the big 2, and they always talk about comics in the realm of the big 2. What's your favorite comic series or graphic novel or whatever outside of the big 2? I need to know if Marvel and DC weren't around, what is it that you would be hype about? What is that last step you read? Vertigo counts as DC, by the way, in this scenario. Okay. I know it eliminates a lot, but
because Why the Last Man? I started reading that, and that is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Also eliminates Sandman. I know.
Yeah, no. I was going to Watchmen is also like amazing.
Eliminates that too. That's it, man. Vertigo got some bangers, everybody.
They do. I'm going to say probably something by Mark Miller. I'm drawing. No, I'm sorry. Probably Sin City, Frank Miller.
Okay.
Probably. That's Frank Miller's probably my favorite comic book writer. He did a lot to revolutionize superheroes and make them the grimdark people that people like to make fun of now.
Add ninjas.
Yeah. Shadows and ninjas. A lot of brooding. Maybe a little religious bent to it.
Actually, watching Daredevil go to confession in a Frank Miller comic was definitely something I look forward to. I needed him to talk about breaking some dude's jaw earlier and like how he felt about it because it made me feel something. I can co-sign that. Yeah.
So
Sin City is a good choice.
Sin City, like the movie, just like that, the way it was filmed and the techniques used, it's amazing. So, and it's pretty much almost frame for frame from the book, with a few slight changes. So.
They did that with the Watchmen movie too, and I found out why they don't do that anymore. They'll give you a couple perfectly lined up frame shots from the source material, and then not a few more. But essentially, I think it might have been Zack Snyder that said it. Actually, it says if it's too close to the book, people will never read the book.
That's true. Because why would you? I can just watch a 2-hour movie versus however long it would take me to read the book.
Yeah.
And I don't have to like read because people don't want to read.
And the movie may cost me $20 to go see, but if I go buy 6 graphic novels or if I buy 40 years of comic history, it's going to cost me way more.
Exactly.
I get that.
Yes, yeah. But I don't know. Like, there's something about investing in those stories and like seeing the callbacks and the references and when like characters fight and they make up. It's pretty dope, man. That's why I like the Marvel movies that work, the Civil War and then Tony and Cap, you know, coming back together. It's great, man.
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, man. That one hurt. That one hurt. I didn't like know that would affect me in the way it did because I was a Killmonger guy.
I was too. Even though I'm not a Michael B. Jordan guy.
I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan too, because Adonis Creed is probably my favorite movie character.
You know what? I'm gonna hip you to something.
Go ahead.
I also enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I also enjoy Adonis Creed, and here's the issue: they're the same character.
Yes and no. They have the same personality, but what they stand for is entirely different.
When you tell me Michael B. Jordan has range, right?
Oh, look, I'm not saying nothing about the acting ability.
Okay.
I'm saying that they
And we're
might
clarifying.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that Killmonger is very much a violent, pro-black radical. And Adonis Creed was a young man trying to figure out his place in life.
I could sit to that. Yeah.
So they are both played by the same actor who has limited range. Can act. Don't say he can't act. He can act, but it's limited range.
He can't act. Fruitvale Station.
Yeah.
Oscar.
That's probably his. Yeah, it's probably his best movie, from pure acting standpoint. But what Killmonger stood for, I would agree with more. Not as violent, but yeah, I would say he was right.
I definitely think about it all the time. It's like Michael B. Jordan, and I think I would have never noticed the fact that they put him as the same character in every film if I had not seen him portray Johnny Storm. And I feel bad that had to happen to him. It had to happen to everybody that was involved because Miles Teller, right? I like him as an actor, right?
I do too.
But then, like, he's no Reed Richards, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm gonna tell you what the Miles Teller situation is, though, and I feel bad for him. But he's basically, if Shia LaBeouf had not went crazy there for a little bit, Shia would have got most of the roles that he got.
That's true.
They look very similar.
I'm a huge Shia LaBeouf fan.
I like him too.
I have dreams where me and Shia LaBeouf go like stop robot invasions and stuff together.
Saw Transformers were going to sleep.
Bruh, our robot actually,
Oh,
because he stops robot invasion in that.
so it's very little, but yes.
I look here, man. No, he's very efficient because he was like on the ground. He had ground floor. He had an AK. No, but I have I have this series of dreams. It's hard to explain to people. So I've had a sleep apnea most of my life. So from like 8 years old to like very recently, I haven't had a good night's sleep, and I have very vivid dreams, and a lot of times very lucid dreams. I did not know why, but it's because apparently I was not entering the proper sleep cycle. So I had this ongoing series of dreams where it first started with I saw the movie Eagle Eye.
Okay.
With Shia LaBeouf.
Pretty good.
So I was like a combination of Eagle Eye, Transformers, and iRobot. So like I'm in a house and then like Shia LaBeouf, like the door blows off and like some weird like Decepticon looking joint comes through the door, but it's like an alien, but it's like AI. It's like a combination of all three movie villains.
Right.
And then Shia LaBeouf, comes in and he does this shy thing. We gotta go right now. You know what I'm talking about? He's all fast paced and hype. and then he's like cracking quick jokes with the straight face like Shia LaBeouf does. And I was like, yeah, we gotta go, Shia. That's crazy. And I'll leave with him, right? And it's like an action movie thing. And it stops there, right?
Right.
And so then there's another series of dreams I have where I'm in it's like a Walmart, kind of, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet Sidney Poitier.
Okay.
And Sidney Poitier and I go have like hot dogs at the like inside the Walmart. Like, you know, they always have like little stands and stuff. Like at Target, they got like Nathan Juniors or whatever, like Nathan's hot dogs and stuff at the Target. So anyway, so I'm at the super center like grocery store and hanging out with Sidney Poitier, and we're talking about like, yo, Sidney, you got your Oscar? Like, he just got it on him. Like, he just keep it on him.
I mean,
like,
I would too. You
know what I'm saying? But he don't use it like it's an Oscar. Like, he don't like hold it up and stuff. Like he be using it like it's a tool, like a multi-tool. Right? So like he go crack a can of soda open. He used the Oscar to like crack the can. You know what I'm saying? Like he go like smash some walnuts. He using the bottom of the base of the Oscar. Like that's how I work in the dream, right?
Okay.
And so then he was telling me about it. I say, Sidney, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, you're not my favorite actor, but I really appreciate everything you did. Like, you started to pave the wave and like, you know, made it acceptable for us, you know, come out here. Like, you know, you the pioneer of this thing. And he was like, he's like, well, who's your favorite actor? You know, in the Sidney Poitier voice. And I was just like, my Sidney Poitier impression is awful. It's the worst one I've ever had. I was like, yo, Don Cheadle is my favorite actor, right? So in this dream series, Sidney Poitier introduces me to Don Cheadle. We all hanging out at the Walmart. We eating hot dogs, right?
Did Don Cheadle eat pork? Or they beef hot dogs?
Beef hot dogs.
All right, I don't know what that was important detail to me, but I don't
know. Because I know you going, you know, I know you're about to be in a situation where you can't buy pork. There are other hot dog options. If Sidney Poitier and Don Cheadle ever invite you out for a dog, Nathan's is kosher. You know what I'm saying? No pork, right?
I'm aware.
But they also got turkey dogs and chicken dogs. You got options.
True.
You can still hang out with Don Cheadle and Sidney Poitier. They're not both alive right now.
Don Cheadle's alive.
Yeah, but who knows? Sidney Poitier could come back real quick, hang out.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna be mad if you get that and I don't get it because it's my dream. But you know what I'm saying? So I hang out with them too, right? And like we're just chilling on some chill stuff, right? And then like I realized that the whole thing with Shia LaBeouf is like I'm in an actual movie,
right?
We're filming, so it stops, and Sidney Poitier and Don Cheadle hit me and they're like, "Yo, are you still doing that movie with Shia LaBeouf?" I'm like, "Me? I haven't acted in forever. I've acted since I was a kid. What are you talking about?" And it was just like, we were just hanging out with Shia LaBeouf like last week. What are you talking about, right? And it occurred to me they were referencing the dream I had previously, like months prior, right? Because in dream world it's like a week, but in real world it's like a year.
Yeah.
And I go, oh snap! So now I have dreams where all three of us hang out and eat like hot wings and hot dogs and like I think the word hot is in there for some reason. I don't know if there's some subliminal. I don't appreciate it. But we eat foods that you would eat at like ball games and stuff. Like that's what we do. And then like we go hang out in weird places that are super humble compared to like a celebrity. You think of like being like in a rich location or somewhere extravagant, and we're always like in a Walmart or like at the park or like at a baseball game. That's what we do. That's our thing. But I'm sorry, I've tarried on too long. So Frank Miller.
I forgot what we were talking about.
I know. I'm sorry because
no.
Shia LaBeouf.
Actually, let me ask you some questions. Why? So obviously, like I said, I wanted to interview people, and you have a crazy, or not a crazy personality, an absurd personality. But what made you want to do the show with me, though? You could have said no.
I could have said no, but I have this really bad habit of wanting people to see their dreams through, and I hate when people have like a dream just like on the tip of their brain and they let it falter because they feel like there's no one to support it. So the moment somebody asks me like, "Yo, will you go in on this dream with me?" All right, how much I gotta go? Right, 100%. Can I do 5? And you're like, yo, you do 5. I'm like, all right, I do 5. Inevitably, I end up doing like 25, 30, 40. You know what I'm saying? But as long as they tell me it's something like, yo, just the bare minimalist to help support my dream, and I'm like, yeah, all right. Like that's what I do, right? And I can't help myself. And at first I was like, you know what, the man ain't gonna do no podcast. So I was just like, yeah, whatever. And then we didn't do it. And then you were like, all right, soon. I go, all right, yeah. People say that all the time. Never, right? Like it happens all the time. I was supposed to start a radio show, supposed to do a movie, I was supposed to do a lot of things with a lot of folk, man. And it never pans out. And then and you hit me up one day, you was just like, all right, tomorrow, next week, like this weekend, we doing it. And I was just like, you serious right now? It gave like it was time frames and dates and an appointment, and I was just like, you know what? I'm in. I gotta be now. Like you followed that far through it, I gotta go. I can't say no now.
I mean, I forgot about it, honestly. Like we talked about it, and then somebody reminded me, a mutual friend was like, y'all doing that podcast? And I was like, yo, I forgot all about that podcast. Thank you for reminding me.
So what you're saying is we got to think that third individual.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can say his name.
What was it?
It was Arthur.
Oh, man. Arthur Aiken. Hey, so shout out to Arthur Aiken.
Who probably will never listen to this podcast, but it's okay.
He might. He listens to them angrily.
Okay.
Angrily, and he tells me all the things we could have done better.
What did he say? I want to know some of his critiques. He won't tell me anything. He just says, like, I listen to it.
So he thinks we should be more political. Arthur wants podcasts based on politics, which we're not political guys. But we don't. For all those listening, we're not very political.
Oh, I have thoughts, but yeah, sure.
But it's not the same kind of politics. Like we're never gonna talk about the fiscal structure of like how state expenditure affects the transportation system. Like that's not what we do.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's not what we're here.
Black Lives Matter is all I really got for you right now.
That's cool. Black Lives Matter. I agree. Like
no, I don't say
which is a hard podcast episode to have because it's literally just us in an echo chamber. Yeah, that's not really cool.
But that's a controversial statement I just made.
To who? To non-black people.
Apparently.
Oh well, let me tell everybody something real quick. If you think all lives matter, yes, but all lives include black lives. So if you think all lives matter, black lives also matter. If you can't agree to that, then you simply are with the standing fact that you think all lives matter, but black lives aren't lives. So there's two options. Option 1 or option 2. One is you're a bigot, and the other one is you're not a bigot. It's up to you.
I'm just going to say matters is the minimum. Matters.
Yeah, it is the minimum.
It's the minimum.
It's the lowest you can go on a scale of things that are important. Yeah. And if you can't give somebody the bare minimum, that means you refuse to give them anything at all. So that is what it is.
Yeah.
There's something else. Something else we got to talk about doing this thing. And so we're not very political.
No.
We're talking about where we started. Right.
Yeah.
We never talk about our goals or what we hope to be. I feel like we should talk about that at some point. And we should also talk about the parameters of about where we do this, because people ask me all the time. This is not my studio. This is not Alex's studio. We don't have our own studio.
No.
So I've mentioned it in multiple episodes, but we have both a producer and an editor who has his own podcast, who lets us use his studio space.
So kind of him.
It is very kind of him. But it's the Dirty Trunk Podcast, and his name is Aaron Mack.
Marcus too. What up, Marcus?
Well, Marcus Morton, yes, the co-founder of the Dirty Trunk Podcast. Also, shout out to Coco and Alyssa, frequent guests on the Dirty Trunk Podcast.
What up, Michelle too? Previous guest.
Yeah, that's very true. She is a frequent guest on it. There's been on at least 3 episodes of the Dirty Trunk Podcast. If you guys haven't checked out the Dirty Trunk Podcast before, I would suggest you do so. That can be found at the Dirty Trunk Podcast.
Wherever podcast can be found.
That's very accurate. Anchor,
Yeah.
Spotify, Pocket Cast. I've recently heard about Overcast. I don't know if you ever heard of Overcast.
I'm not.
So I went to go look in like Google Play, like the Google Play Store to find Overcast, and I think I found it, but the problem is the first two things I found definitely might have just been terrible clickbait games, and I'm afraid to click any of them. So if anyone from Overcast ever listens to this, please let us know which one is the correct one to download. So I would like to check it out and try something new, and at no point in time do I know which is the right one. And I'm not trying to get a virus, nor am I trying to take like my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to lose my account. I need all 35 of them cents, man. You never know when I need to buy a cheeseburger from McDonald's in 1994. Okay?
Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, what my goal for the podcast though?
Yeah. Like what's when you say you made it and you did it with a podcast, what does that look like to you?
When we're talking to like
What, Selena Gomez?
no. I don't have a problem with Selena Gomez though. I was gonna
That's just me.
like I don't even know, man. When we're talking to the Jay-Z's of the world, the you know, when we talk to like the Allen Iversons of the world.
And look, that's not funny, bro. Look, I'll tell y'all something. I want to talk to Jay-Z so bad. That's how I know when I made it. Me and Allen Iverson don't get along, bro. Me and Allen Iverson ain't friends. We not homies. We got problems, okay?
Hey, that's between you and him. AI, what's up, bro? I rock with you.
Go get the Tidewater, Virginia out of here. Look, man, Allen Iverson got me kicked out of MacArthur Mall, and he got me banned. I ain't been back since, all right? I was a child last time I went there. I live in VA, and I can't go to a mall in VA because Allen Iverson got froggy for no reason, all right?
Hey, man, you're a big dude.
I was a child. I was a big child, but
Right.
I was still a
Allen
child.
Iverson's not a big man.
No, he's not. He's not a big man. And I'm still upset that he got me banned. I don't even know if I can go back now.
I don't know.
I probably could. Like everyone
they
who
don't
worked
know
there
what you
probably
like. Yeah.
gone now.
Yeah.
But I'm like afraid to. Like I'm like there's so many places I'm banned from right now that I can't go to, and I'm afraid to go to any of them for the that somebody's just gonna be like, "Hey, what happened 20 years ago?" I'm like, "Oh God," and I gotta get out of there, right? Like,
Look, I'm just saying, hey, Allen Iverson, if you ever, for whatever reason, this podcast comes in your purview or you're listening to it somehow randomly, you know what you could do to make Herb's life better? Just unban him from MacArthur Mall.
I would appreciate it, man, because there used to be a store there that I wanted to go to. It's a Sunco, and I don't even think that exists anymore.
It was like KB Toys. KB Toys was
KB Toys been gone. I love KB Toys though, and I can't go there no more. Especially not at MacArthur Mall, bruh. That's whack.
I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to open up that wound.
It's a very serious wound, man, because I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to deal with being in 8th grade and people had the AI shoes with his face on the inside of the shoe. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah, the answers or
for no reason. Yeah, the answers. Why would you put your face on the sole of a shoe? Like, who does that? Like, it was on the insole. It's so weird. Like, why would you want people stepping on your face? Why would you want toes in your mouth besides Tory Lanez? Don't look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Tory Lanez want toes in his mouth.
He shoot feet. I don't think he want toes in his mouth.
He shoot feet because they wouldn't put them in his mouth. I know the truth. Hey, listen, there was that when that diss track got made about him and they said he wanted to suck the toes through the socks. First off, that was the hardest. My producer literally
Just stop what he was doing.
it's the most absurd thing he had ever heard, and that's on some real stuff right there.
He just stop.
So what was the name? China doll, H doll, whatever. It was some
okay.
doll, right? She had
Sure.
this track, Tory Lanez, and she said he wanted to suck her toes through her socks, right? Which, first off, toe sucking's whatever, right? I'm not a fan of it, but to each their own. People like suck toes, but through the socks, though.
I mean,
That's you just sucking on cotton cloth, brother. What are they wool socks on an itchy tongue? Like, that's weird to me, bro. And then also wet socks is gross. So
yeah, she gonna have soggy toes.
it's essentially he was like, I don't care how uncomfortable you are. I need to feel wet fabric on my tongue, right?
It's like a hairball waiting to happen. Right? Ugh.
So I know for a fact when he shot Megan Thee Stallion's feet, it was specifically because she was like, yo, you can't put my toes in your mouth. Like, I'm still wearing socks. What are you doing? And he was just like, if I can't have them, nobody's going to have them. And he shot them things. Or
That is...
yeah, toe it up, bro. Or she allowed somebody else, right? He came in the room one day and he was just like, did I see that man sniffing your sandals? And she was just like, I mean, you don't own me. I do what I do. I'm a bad joint, you know what I'm saying? I'm Megan Thee Stallion, you know, so I'm number one. And he was just like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then the man was just like, bro, you know what's great? Her succulent. Tastes delicious. He was like, I know you ain't let another man suck your toes through the socks, and I can't do it. And then he shot her in the foot. Because he was like, if I can't have them, can't nobody have them. You know what I'm saying? And he shot them joints. And then she had to put a whole news article out about it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still upset because nobody got this man up on charges right now. If you shot somebody, would you be on charges?
Probably.
But I wouldn't. Like, what Tory Lanez just like, what?
It's not funny.
He got enough hits that he ain't got to go serve time for shooting people now?
She was trying to keep a black man out of jail. She was trying to, be...
Name your top 5 favorite Tory Lanez tracks right now. Right now.
Man, I don't even know.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
Exactly. Save a Lot Drake. That's crazy. And I don't even rock with Drake like that. So, like, the fact that somebody got an artist I don't really rock with like that and then made a Save a Lot version is crazy.
That's 2 episodes you brought Drake up in a row.
That's not... That might be true. I might
you
have
brought
a
it
problem. No, I got a problem. I'm gonna say
I
it.
won't even think about Drake.
I'm gonna say it on the podcast. So Drake, I'm not a huge fan.
No, you bringing him up. I don't know.
He feel like he never gonna hit his podcast. If he does hit his podcast and he decide I don't like him and he try to shut us down, I want you to know ahead of time. I'm gonna expose the world to the fact that you want to shut down the world's smallest podcast, bruh. To talk about
the world's smallest podcast.
To talk about the fact that you ain't like, I ain't say, that I won't like you like that. Like that's the foulest part. I ain't saying nothing about this main character. I ain't telling him that I thought he liked little girls or nothing.
What, yo?
But I didn't say I said that. I said I didn't say that. I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying I didn't say that.
Just for the record, my name is not Herb. My name is Alex. So if you feel the need to press any charges of any sort, Drake, Alex did not say anything. Just Alex didn't say anything.
But I didn't say that though.
I understand.
He shouldn't want to press unless he got something.
Man, just stop while you ahead, Herb.
I just want that man to know I don't hate you as a person, Drake, because I don't know you personally.
I'm a fan, Drake.
He is a fan. We that's the thing we argue about the most.
Yo, somebody told me that I look like I listen to Drake. I didn't know how to take that.
That sound offensive though.
Right?
Like
How she said it too was like really
offensive. They meant it as
offensive.
an insult.
Yeah.
Like
she's like, you look like you listen to Drake. I was like,
it depended on which Drake they was trying to make you say you listen like.
I'm assuming she meant like the sensitive like R&B song Drake.
So side B of Scorpion or like side A? Like what we at? Like
side B was like the love songs and stuff, right? Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the side B, yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to say you were side B?
Yeah.
That's messed up, bro.
Yeah, she's like an NBA YoungBoy fan. And I was like, I don't know if I should like
Yeah.
I don't know how I should like take this criticism. Or is it criticism? Or is it a compliment? I don't know now.
First NBA YoungBoy song I ever heard was him talking about being in love with his Glock. So like
I don't know.
There's nowhere to go but up from there.
Yeah.
Then he just started body slamming his girlfriend on camera like daily. So it's a wild concept.
Yeah.
But I still listen to his tracks though. He popped out a whip with a machine gun, right? Like, well, an assault rifle, excuse me. And then fired on a group of people. twice, and then he like did the same thing to a group of cops, right? But he was like underage, so like they just kind of like he's still out. I just say that he's still out.
Also, hey, NBA Youngboy, this podcast ever happens to come to your purview, I just didn't say anything about you. I just said that I don't,
Hey, look,
rock with your music per se.
I'm a fan though.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We good, young boy.
Just-
I pump your joint. I knew about, what I'm saying, the Glock. I knew about it, bro. Like, I've been with it since you first started. When you had 3 tracks on YouTube, I was hip.
Oh,
I'm
you
there.
like a real fan, a fan.
Before the book bag, I was there.
Oh,
Before the drawstring backpack. Speaking of which, this is the weirdest transition I've ever had. The drawstring backpack. How you feel about it?
you talking about the it's not a-
Where like you got shoelaces tied to a napkin on your back. What's up with that?
I mean,
like, you good with it?
Yeah, I mean, I used them before. I'm not a big fan per se, but it's useful. It's useful. Why? Where you going with this?
So it was a big trend because like Nike put them out like first, like it was like the Nike backpack for like a long time, and I'm mad it became so popular and now everybody wants to keep making bags like that because I'm a big dude and like there hasn't been a single one of those backpacks that's been designed to be made for a larger person where it's just like more fabric with the drawstring or like a longer drawstring or whatever.
Yeah.
So, because you gotta change the size of the drawstring. So, it makes it, when I wear one, it makes it look like I have, like I'm cosplaying with a jetpack on, or like if I just had like a bump in my back, like it looks like I bumped up against a wall and I got some paint on my joint. Like it doesn't look good for me. I'm too large for the backpack itself. The surface area of the backpack didn't cover enough of my back itself, so it gets stuck between my shoulder blades. That's a gross look.
Yeah.
And I feel insulted. So I think whoever invented it definitely had smaller people in mind. But then at the last second, somebody was like, "Hey, wait a minute. You want to sell these in America, don't you?" And they're like, "Yeah." You realize a large percentage of America is like larger than that. A lot of them are obese. Don't you want them to buy your products? It's like studies say that obese people will spend more money. Like capitalists love fat people. And they go, "Oh, you're right. You know what I'll do? Instead of making it comfortable for fat people, I will just make the drawstring slightly longer, set it on skinny guys. It hangs all the way down to the crack of their butt. And on big guys, it rides on the back of their neck, but look like they got a squirrel and a pouch on their back, right? Like that's what it is." So
Okay.
if anybody can address capitalist America, if any capitalist can, Mark Cuban, if you can hear me, if a large percentage of your consumers are overweight for any product whatsoever, is it possible that we can make those products suitable for overweight people? It would be nice to know that if more fat people buy clothes, that we could have plus size clothing. It would be wonderful. If we knew more plus size people bought chairs because they sit down more often, we could get plus size chairs.
That would be nice. Also, hospital beds. Yo, my feet hang off all the time. Totally uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not in the hospital all the time, but when I'm in the hospital, my feet are like dangling. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Them joints is definitely made for somebody who's like 5'6".
Yeah, man.
Is it?
Heightism, I think.
Heightism is a thing. A lot of things are made for people who are like 5'10" and shorter. You ever been to Smithsonian?
No.
All right, you go to Smithsonian, they got like a train car, like a subway, and like a New York style subway car from like 50s or something, right?
Right.
That thing is so tiny, bro. Like, first off, your head, right, scraping. Your head scraping. My joint is barely okay. My hair is getting pulled, but no, my head's straight. Your head, like the back of your neck, like this, the whole time.
That's not.
Like you looking like a vulture, right?
Yeah, I'm like 6'2", so for reference.
And then the seats, the width of them, right? So like your hips is touching the joint, which means my joint, I'm sitting on 2 seats, right? You know what I'm saying? And I don't get it. And like the backrests come up to like, if I had a tramp stamp, that's how high it would come up.
Oh, that's not comfortable at all.
Right. So like I guess people back then only had like a 4-inch back, like they couldn't get the whole joint.
Well,
I'm just assuming because if you got a 4-inch back rest, you got a 4-inch back.
People were like smaller back then, no? Like in general. Like,
Yeah,
like
but I'm annoyed.
stature.
I'm annoyed by the concept that they just assume no one would ever be bigger than like the one guy who tested it. It wasn't that. And I think about it all the time. We don't know what the average. They talk about the average height or size of a person was or whatever. But at the same time, like, is that the case or is that just the people they tested? There had to be people bigger.
Yeah.
You know who wasn't included in any of those tests back then? People of color.
Fair.
So
That's always the case, though.
I'm like, yo, you using the same 5 white guys who are 5'3". Like, there's more people in the universe, and they were like, nah, it's fine. We got these guys. There are test subjects for everything. Space shuttles, who's gonna get it? These guys, 5'3". They'll fit. And this is like, oh, what if you get an astronaut who's like 6 foot tall? And they're like, no, is he colored? No, he's not gonna get it. It's not gonna, never gonna happen. Couldn't happen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't think I want to be a tall astronaut, though.
Now, I wouldn't want to be a tall astronaut. Diaper ain't gonna fit right.
That's not what I was gonna say. Those spaceships are tight, man.
They're tight because you gotta wear a diaper. You ever worn a diaper before?
And not since I was a baby.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
What?
I mean, I haven't worn one like recently or nothing. I asked, but I didn't have a personal point of view. I have not worn it. I don't wear diapers, everybody. Just
You
so y'all know.
phrased that very strangely, Herb.
I did, but it was my podcast tone of voice, and so it made it seem like I had some experience with the subject, but I don't personally have experience with the subject.
I mean, it's okay if you do. I'm not judging. It's just there's a lot about you that come out on this podcast that I did not know previously, and I'm learning, and I'm just shocked and slightly appalled at some of the stuff that I'm finding out. Slightly appalled.
Listen, I gotta tell the story, before we run out of time, because the world want to know. I don't know. For everybody listening, I don't know if you guys know. I talked to all of you guys that I know personally about the podcast, but there's people I don't know personally who also listen to the podcast, which is great. I encourage it. I have like a listener in Ireland.
Yeah, we are grateful for that.
Grateful. Please let all your Irish friends know to listen to the podcast more often.
Especially Conor McGregor.
Yeah, gotta know. It was an accident we talked about Conor, but please, yes, rep Conor. We have non-binary guests, we have non-specified gender guests, and we have guests from the age of 18 all the way up to
Listeners?
to their 70s. Yeah. Sorry, not guests, listeners.
But we are welcoming, though, like non-binary and all those people.
Yeah, I exclude no one unless I don't vibe with you right. If I don't vibe with you right, you can't be on my show. So I get a lot of feedback and I get a lot of questions asked, and I intend on answering most of those the more Alex and I have solo episodes with no guests. But currently, the thing I've been talked to the most about is my experience with the honey pot. I experienced a situation, an interaction with a specific religious group, and people want to hear about my experiences with them and attempted conversion of me to the LDS Church, the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Also, probably why this whole podcast was put together.
Yeah, actually.
It took us 4 episodes to get here.
And I almost I tried to avoid it still. It's a hard thing to talk about. So I stayed out in a spot in Virginia. I've recently moved, but the spot I was in Virginia before is not that far from an LDS church. And then while I grew up in Petersburg, people will know there's an LDS church in Petersburg. It is not the same one in which they came to address me. So my first experience with members of the LDS, you guys may know them as Mormons. When I was in college, there was someone who was converting to LDS. They had people come by their house and talk to them about it. So they asked their friends to come on by and listen as well. And I was dating a girl at the time who was doing so she asked me if I could also participate and go as well. And I got into it with a couple of the evangelists there, trying to convert me, and we had some odds and ends and discussions about their religion as a whole and how I felt about it, and my opinions as such. For those of you who don't know, there are some quotes in the Book of Mormon that are a little race biased. I'm not going to say they're racist per se because I don't want to get sued, but I will say the statement of saying that people's skin was turned darker because of their sins is a little rough.
Yeah.
A little rough to hear for both natives and for black people, both of which I have family for. So I was not a super fan of their religion, but their sect of religion. I am Christian. Now, flash forward 2 years later, I came to my door. Most people don't come to my door. And when I heard my doorbell, I look out the window and I was just like, hey, there's 2 white girls on my porch. And I said that to my old lady. I was like, yeah, there's 2 white girls on the porch. And she was just like, well, figure out what they want. I was like, I don't know. You expecting 2 white girls on the porch? Because I'm not. And I opened it up, and they wanted to talk to me about the Church of Latter-day Saints. Now, back when I used to live in Petersburg, if the Jehovah's Witness came to my door and said they want to talk to me about Church of Jehovah's Witness, I'd say, sure. And I let them sit there and talk to me, and I go, all right, have a nice day. Because the family had a child they were bringing to practice everything. And what I didn't want to do was have that door slammed in that child's face one more time because of me. I don't want them to think of me and think of slammed doors and faces. I want them to think about open opportunities, not closed opportunities. Like I said, we do this. I do this because I like to see people, fulfill their dreams.
Very nice of you.
That's what I do. So, Church LDS, they like to convert. They do. So they send kids to college. It's like an LDS college, and then they go out and learn how to convert people and like be evangelists for the religion, recruiters, as it were. It's like army recruiters, where they prey on those who seem weak and like they want to do something different, don't know where they're going in the world, and they go, hey, you, what are you doing? And you're like, I don't know, playing Call of Duty. Like, you like Call of Duty, don't you? You want to try that for real? And you go, I don't know. I've never walked up steps before, but I played Call of Duty enough. I'm pretty sure I'd be great in the military. And they recruit you. You sign a contract, and you get out there, and you get exhausted immediately because you're like, oh, what? I got to actually run myself and hold things myself? That's crazy. Who thought, who knew? It's a big eye-opener for a lot of people. It's the same thing for the LDS Church, and I know better. So at first, it started with they come by like once a week, and they want to set up a time frame in which they can come by. And I said, hey, Monday nights. I got to work Tuesday morning, but it's okay because they have stuff they have to do on like the weekends, right? They still got to be religious. They're also like females within like their early 20s or something, like late teenage years, early 20s, somewhere around that co-ed age, as it were. So they kept coming back. They would never come inside the house because you're not supposed to just enter the house with a man there, that woman. That's like part of their religion.
Is it?
Yeah, so if it was a bunch of guys, they couldn't come in with like a lady there. Like they would have to wait outside. Like they go in if it was a dude, but they couldn't just go outside, like unless it was like a mutual gender thing.
Oh.
Right. Super weird. So those girls couldn't come inside the house would meet just me because it would be inappropriate, which is actually pretty safe. It was probably the safest part of religion.
Yeah,
I'm with that.
That makes sense.
So we sat outside on the porch. We talked for a while. I showed them the pet spider that I had that wasn't really my pet, but I would throw bugs into its web, and it was huge. It was an orb weaver, and it was like the size of 2 of my thumbs. It was enormous. They were very impressed. We talk about the Book of Mormon. They share some scriptures and say, well, I really want you to read this. You really have to read this. You sure you're going to read this? Promise me you're going to read this. And I go, yeah, sure, whatever. With no plans on actually reading it because
yeah, of course.
Sinner I. And then I would read it. I would actually read it because, you know what? The girl with the curly dark hair, I listen to her. I'll do what she says. Yeah? Right, so that's how it was. It was like they sound like it's super tall thing for tall women, right? Because I'm a weird guy. So super tall girl, dark curly hair. I'm like, dark curly hair? Okay, that's great. And then there's a short blonde, and I was like, okay, I like short girls. And then blonde, whatever. But she was like super duper curvy. And I was like, oh, well, that's dope, right? It's the best of both worlds right there. We live in large life. They come back enough times. I'm not giving them a lot of give, right?
Right.
I'm talking to them about other religions. I'm talking to them about Buddhism,
Trying to convert them to something else.
Christianity, Islam. Yeah, like I'm literally telling them about the parallels between their religions and other religions. I'm talking to them about the AME Zion Church. This is how I grew up, and like, I was like, I was a chaplain, youth chaplain. Like, you guys want to come over to my side? What's up? Get baptized next week. What's popping? All right, like, and it's almost like we're having an evangelist, like a feud, like a showdown, right? Like, who's gonna cave first? And they're like, we're gonna get him. I'm like, nah, you ain't never gonna get me, chief. But we out here, right? But then I would never tell them stop coming back and you have no choice. I would be like, yeah, she'll come back next week. Try to convert me again. I don't mind. Keep coming back. So they came back enough times. I guess they feel like they were like, we just can't get this guy, because like they were like, they got to the point where they physically like touched me. You know, they put their hands on my shirt collar, like, you gotta believe. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, sure. But they see I wasn't doing it. Right? I'm like giggling. So they call their big boss lady, their supervisor.
They're bringing the big guns.
They brought in the big guns. So she was the veteran, right? She was the number one salesman for a while, right? She shows up. She's got her glasses cleaned, right? She's got her grandma sweater on, right? And she's got the full nerd girl look. So we're gonna get him. And I go, oh, I like nerd girls. Good choice, right? You're gonna show me. And they start same MO, and I go, it's whatever. So then they start inviting me to like LDS parties and stuff. They're like, yo, what's poppin'? We got a mixer coming up in church this weekend. What's good with you? And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go.
So is this where they end up showing you? I might be skipping ahead a little bit. Apologize if I am. But at one of these mixers, they whip out the feet?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Because I never went to the mixers. I never went because my old lady said she didn't want to go, but I ain't never went to those. So what happened was, inevitably, after I missed so many mixers and they're tired of my stuff, they're like, you're coming this Saturday? And I'm like, sure. And I don't come, right? They're hitting me up. They're texting me. They're calling me like, yo, where are you? You didn't come Saturday. And I'm like, sorry, I had work, right? So finally, it's the annual conference. All the LDS church members, all the Mormons in the world are going to gather around TV screens and Videotrons and Titantrons and all kinds of stuff and watch as the leaders of the LDS church all come together and discuss, like, basically give like their sermons at once. It's like a greatest hits album of sermons for their religion, right? It's like happening at one time, right? A choir of people from all over the world, the best singers in one big group, right? It's the VMAs, it's the Oscars, right? It's that one giant event of the year that like everybody looks forward to,
right?
And like, you gotta go, you gotta come, you gotta go, you gotta come. And I was like, I like to come, and I'll also go, right? So
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I head out to the LDS church, and I get there, and there's an older dude there, because they can't be places alone with me, right? So the older dude, and that's what made it super weird. It's like that's me in the church, and he's just like, "Hey, how you going?" And he just kind of walks off, and then they're telling me who he is, and like, he's not gonna be a problem. He's gonna be like, "Wait, you're not even gonna notice he's here." I'm like, it doesn't bother me to see another person in a church.
Yeah, what?
That's what they're for.
Yeah.
People in churches, that's a public space, but okay.
Yeah.
And then they show me their computer lab. What they use that computer lab for the most is ancestry.com research, like researching their family trees.
Okay.
The reason why, reason they stated is because, it's a little fun thing, But
Something nefarious, really?
yes, nefarious. So when the Church of LDS started with Joseph Smith back in the 1800s, right?
Right.
People constantly remember them having multiple wives because on the Pioneer Trail, on the Oregon Trail, right, going all the way out to Salt Lake City, Utah, right? Like people were dying of disease and whatever, and there were laws stating that women can own property and whatnot.
Right.
So have jobs and such. So they made a standard like, all right, well, men can have multiple wives just so like women can still eat and have them like take care of the kids and whatever,
Right.
and like buy the property for them so they could tend to it,
Right.
tend to their farmland, whatever. Like it was a great commerce decision. So and then it was outlawed eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not legal now, and nor does the LDS Church support it now. I'm not saying that they do for anybody listening from the LDS Church. What I'm saying is there's a stigma about it, but it happened for like a very long time.
Right.
And because it's such a small religion, it's one of those things where like they decided that you should really marry and multiply with people from the same religion. But it was a fledgling religion starting in the 1800s, so there's not a ton of people.
Right.
Right. So they sent out not mercenaries. What's that word? Missionaries. Totally different, but also not quite different.
Sure.
Missionaries to other countries, and a lot of the Polynesian part of the world has been converted to LDS.
Right.
Right. You mix up the DNA pool. So the Ancestry.com is there so that you know that the person you're about to hook up with isn't your cousin.
Makes sense.
You're not going to have an inbred child.
Makes sense.
That's actually what that's for. So you they even suggested like maybe I go and check it out, blah blah blah. But I realized not so much so because they told me about all the people of the church who were Puerto Rican already, because I had a big Puerto Rican flag on my door.
Right.
And that's when I realized out of my whole neighborhood, they only stopped and knocked on my door, and they didn't walk up. They drove in a car. They drove specifically to my house and knocked on my door because I had a Puerto Rican flag. They went, hey, that guy, he's not white. He's not going to be somebody who's related to somebody in this church. We should definitely recruit him so you can get somebody, marry him in, blah, blah, blah. Then they found out I had somebody already, a little awkward, and they go, we can still mix up the pool. They'll have a kid. That kid will have a kid. The more brown people will mix in, we know for a fact they're not related, right?
That's crazy.
It's an MO. So I thought that at first, right? And then as I'm sitting there in this whole process and I'm watching this whole thing on this giant projector screen that takes up like I would say like 30 yards wide. It was huge.
That's crazy.
It's like the whole side of a church wall. So the girls kept doing little weird signal things that made it seem more and more like a honeypot. And for those who don't know what a honeypot is, it's when they send a spy in of like the opposite gender, somebody you'd be like attracted to or whatever, and then kind of like make it a sweet deal, whereas the other spies will just like beat you up, right? Like to lure you in with a false insecurity, so you give up all your secrets because it's somebody you like. That's what it felt like, right? So it was a honeypot, huh? Yeah, the Maury show. They put you in the fake guest room, like, "How you doing, babe?" And then they tell you your old lady like, what a cheating bastard you are.
Oh,
so
man.
I felt like I was on the Maury show. So I was like getting there first, and the tall joint with the curly hair first. She decides to get up, and they tell me like they got snacks, right? And the whole thing on the morning is they don't drink or anything. I drink a lot. They don't drink, so they're like, it's something you might have to get rid of. And I was like, first off, you're never going to convert me. You tell me I can't have Orange Jubilee again. You tripping.
Yeah, this show would not be in existence right now.
Facts, bro. Like, I'm going to not have Orange Jubilee. You're a maniac. But I said, oh, yeah, sure. And I said, but we got plenty of other things to compensate. And I'm like, oh, snap. It better not be Coke, right? Like, that's what I was like. How wild this party about to get? But it was like, yo, Starburst, Skittles, chocolate, what's popping? And I was like, okay. It felt like I've been to church retreats and stuff before but it also feel like a middle school sleepover. We're like, we're gonna get super wild. And they're gonna let us have soda till 11. Like that's the kind of vibe I was getting, right? And so I'm hanging out there, and I remember going to church camp, and I'm like, yo, this where you used to get the girls frisky right here, right? Like you drink a bunch of soda until like, you know, it's dark outside and they want to kiss and stuff under the covers. It's crazy. It's stuff I used to do as a child, right? So I'm sitting there, and like I said, the tall joint get up first, and she just all of a sudden she got to stretch her back out a lot, so she's just arching her back a lot at me, right? And then like looking over her shoulder and like looking at me to make sure I'm watching her arch her back, like frequently, right? And like snapping the joint, and then like she's making it crack. And she's like, sorry if it was a crack on my bones. So I was like, nah, I'm cool. I like bones cracking. This was up, right? I was that dude. I mean, people joints popping is dope. Cause I said something new about her before, so she knew, but she said it again, right? Like she wanted to remind me. She's like, oh, I don't know if you could hear it from here. It's basically what she should have said was, man. Oh, I didn't know if you could hear it from here, so I was hoping you could hear it. That's what she should have said, right? But that's not what she said. So I watched her for a little bit, and I was just like, yo, that joint making me kind of sweat a little bit. I'm not trying to do nothing. Let me turn my direction to the side here. And in the joint that was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, the big veteran salesman was like, the whole time she's like taking notes. Like she's writing stuff down, right? Like sending it to the shorties, like pass it around. But she's acting like I'm just taking notes on the conference right now. I was like, nah, you trying to hit me to the game, bro. I see what's good. And so the whole time she's just staring at me, and she's like, winks. You having a good time? You having fun? I'm like, yeah, I guess, yo. And so the little curvy joint, and this is what she do. She take the shoes off. She go for broke, right? She's been arching her back the whole time in her seat. She's like, I just can't get comfortable. I gotta stretch it out. Right? And I was like, all right, that's what's up. She's like, I might need you to massage my back. And I was just like, that I was silent. I was like, I don't even.
I mean, in the church, that seems like a sin.
It does.
Of some sort.
I felt like Jesus was about to hit me with the no face, bro. I had to settle down. I was like, all right. But I, got to be a good Samaritan. So I was just like, whatever you need. But I didn't do it, just for anybody listening.
Particularly his wife. I mean, I don't know if she knows this whole story. I don't.
She does. Oh. Well, she knows most of it. So, so anyway, so the joint take her shoes off, right? And she's got on like pantyhose, right? Because they're very conservative in LDS church. Like, you don't show a lot of skin. And she starts like cracking her toe knuckles. Right? And remember I said something about the bones popping.
Yeah. You hear that, right? Tori?
No.
Like that.
Tori would have liked that. But I'm not a foot guy, right?
Yeah.
But she popping it, and then she does this thing that they do in the foot fetish world. It's called toe points. Like I said, I'm not a member of the world, but I still know what's popping because your boy likes pop culture. Okay. And so,
all right.
She starts hitting the toe points in her, and she's like, just like moving the ankles around and swerving them things, and like she's just making eye contact with me the whole time. And she's like, look at me. She like looks down at her ankles and looks back at me. She's like, I'm sorry, these bothering you. And I'm like, no, they're not. But I wouldn't have noticed if you weren't like pointing them out.
Yeah,
like it's
super
weird.
Exaggerated.
So
why did they assume though that you had a foot fetish in the church? That is just
that's the biggest assumption, but also probably the most accurate one. So in a world where like you're super modest and like your skirt's got to come down to your ankles and that type of thing, and you don't show a lot of skin, there's no such thing as low cut stuff or whatever. You're not wearing a lot of makeup. People don't drink. Old school rules apply.
Oh, like the ankles.
Back when women used to flash their ankles at that man, be like, that's the same thing as pulling a titty out nowadays, where you flash the ankle and it's like, boom, what's popping, chief? And that's how you know it when it's go time, right? So she was flashing her ankles at me. She was flashing the toe knuckles. She was pulling the foot all the way out. Wow. She put her feet in my lap.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, and the whole time I did what any brother trying to, you know what I'm saying, obey the laws of the God in there. I just stared straight ahead. I just eyes forward, hands to myself, bro, and resisted the urges of the devil. You know what I'm saying? So like when I was in there, John, I was like, yo, I know what they want. They want me to convert to this church.
Right.
Because I tried to walk away a couple times. It's like, yo, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, get me some water real quick. I got to get out of here. I'm sweating.
Yeah, how did you get out of there?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like a lot of these things ain't really my fetish or whatever, but I was still like, yo, this is this could have worked.
Yeah.
Like on Teenage Me, this would have worked. Bro.
Right.
Like, this crazy. So
Right.
I tried to swerve and like a joint found me like out there. Like she's like, doing all right? You okay? You need anything? Yeah. I was like, I'm fine. And then I turn around the corner, right? And I'm like, oh, joint. The veteran was right there waiting for me. Like she knew what time it was, right? And I tried to go around the other way, and the curly haired joint was like, hey, you okay?
It sounds like a nightmare.
You getting everything you need? You can get what you want? And I was just like, yeah, I'm straight. What do you think of it so far? You in love with it? What's happening? I'm like, I'm all right. And I try to go around. I said, let me go. There's like a room I'm not even supposed to be in. Let me go in that one. And the curvy joint's in there. And she's just like, are you having fun? Would you like to do this again? Huh? Are you enjoying yourself? After she didn't have her feet on my lap for an hour, she gonna ask me if I'm enjoying myself. I want to do this again, right? And so I'm just like, it's like, this could be you every weekend. And I'm just like, this is weird. So I'm like, all right, let me stay to the end. All right, I mean, y'all have a nice day. I'm a dip, right? And I go back and I tell my lady like, yo, that was weird. I probably ain't going back no more. Like I was like they went for broke. Like they went all in. That was like their last hurrah. That was their Hail Mary, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I tried to I deflected, swapped and swerved, right? And so then I think it's all over. False security. That's how the honeypot works, right? I think I'm safe now. I resisted temptations, right? Like your boy resisted the urges of 3 girls. Like I'm done, right? I'm succeeded. This is the greatest thing that happened. And then they come back to the crib, right?
It's like any horror movie.
And they don't have the veteran no more.
Right.
She's gone, right?
Right.
They're like, oh, she had to go back to her region or whatever. I was like, oh, so she was taking notes. She figured out what worked and what didn't work, right? Yeah. They were like, he's too loyal. They sent me a joint that just looked like my wife.
Oh.
Who spoke Spanish and everything, bro. They really was trying to edge your boy. They wanted him to know. Like, they wanted me to know. They say, listen, it ain't just white girls we got. We got Doricans, too. That's all you want? That's fine. We got them. Tan with the curly. We got them. Right here. Right now. Same glasses and everything, bro. I was like, y'all found a clone and brought her here? This is madness, bro. And that's when I knew, like, either I had to just go do it, or join the church, or tell them they couldn't come back no more. I'm not one to tell them they can't come back no more. That's not me.
So did you join the church?
Nah, my mama called me up like the next day and was like, hey, look, you want a new phone? I heard yours busted. I'm like, yo, it is. And she goes, I'm about to get a new phone. They told me it's buy one, get one free situation. I got a free phone for you, but you got to come up here and get it. You got to change your phone number. And I was just like, I ain't never changed my phone. It's only been the same since high school. When I first got a cell phone, I got friends that like be in other states to change their number all the time. How they gonna find me? She goes, either you want a working phone or you don't. I go, all right, man. So I come get it, and I just tell people they get in contact with them, they can get in contact with me, right?
Right.
But that means the Mormons ain't get my new number.
Oh. Yeah.
It wasn't even on purpose. I just never saved theirs. I just knew which one it was.
Yeah.
But they couldn't hit me up no more. Huh. So and they never came back by the house.
God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, it is. He does, man. And it was like they came back when I wasn't there. And when they saw I wasn't there, they just saw my lady, they dipped.
Yeah, they weren't there for her.
Yeah, they weren't there for her. I didn't even know they sent women out to do that type of stuff, bro. If that would have happened to me when I was in college, it'd have been a wrap for me. I'd be a Mormon to this day.
I just got when the Mormons came to my house, it was just 2 boring white dudes.
Dry, right?
Yeah.
Yo, let me tell you something else, though. I didn't notice when it happened in college. I used to play D&D, and some Mormons lived up an apartment above, and they knew I would get drunk and play D&D. Why them boys come downstairs telling us, yeah, man, we love board game night? And I was just like, I'll fight you. Don't try to share common interest with me.
So, I mean,
and maybe they told, because it was from the same church, maybe they went and told them, like, yo, there's a guy. We want him. He's aggressive. He's charismatic. He's aggressive. We can get him, but we can't send guys who like board games. Scrubs. All right. I'm glad I got it off my chest.
Yeah, man. This
is
a wild story.
We can tell some more later. I can even tell the one about why me and Allen Iverson don't get along.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Tell y'all about the time I met Loretta Devine. I can tell y'all about the time. I don't know if I can actually tell that story.
Probably not, but let's go ahead and wrap this one up, Herb.
Oh yeah. So this has been Edberto Vasquez El Segundo, and this is my co-host,
Just Alex,
and this has been the HERBsurdity Podcast with Alex and Herb. God bless.
When I'm in the streets, with hands on feet unique. My stick a new technique. Don't fuck with internet beef. Bitches me, and I beat. I see zippers, I Michael Jack 'em. Or hold his hood for ransom. Find his main bitch in his savage. Make him trap house dancers. 4TF is for the family. Don't like it, fuck you pay me. It's for my brother's babies. And my dad is new Mercedes. 16